Have you ever heard of the concept of cash for keys? It's like saying, I will give you money if you give me keys to the property. It should save everyone from going to court. Well, we bought this particular house in May, and I sent the letter to the tenant, the new tenant here that I inherited, and I said, well, we've got some choices. The rent in the area, I used Rentometer, and the rent in the area was like $1,200, something like that. I said, so you're paying below market rent at $550, and that's not going to work for us. So if you want to stay, we need to raise your rent, but I'll do it gradually over the next 3 months. But we need you to pay rent, the market rent, and I think I did lower than that, like at $1,100, I think I offered her. I said, so there's one of your options. You stay, you pay a higher rent, gradually increasing over the next 3 months. Option B, we evict you. Option C, we give you $1,000 if you move within like 30 days, by the time the 30-day notice was up, which in Michigan, you send a 30-day notice, and back before the pandemic, when you sent that 30-day notice, it took 45 days from after the 30 days was up, another 45 days to get through the court process to get to a bailiff to get them out. So this tenant said, well, my goodness, that's not enough time to make any kind of decision. And I said, well, you said you wouldn't pay the higher rent, right? And she said, yes, but I said, so really then you ought to move. Here's $1,000, because if you do it this month, you get $1,000. If you move next month, I was generous. I said, even if it takes you an extra month, I'll still give you $800. So the first month goes by, she doesn't move or pay rent. The second month goes by, she doesn't take me up on the $800. And she starts saying, but I have CERA money, so I don't have to pay rent because the state of Michigan pays my rent now because of the pandemic, because everybody got all this help. And so I said, well, I never got any CERA money, so I don't really know what you're talking about. And we ended up in court, and the lawyer called, and he said, all right, well, there's all this CERA money, and her attorney, which the courts in Detroit hired a whole bunch of attorneys, so all tenants are now represented, which means the first court case, they start the first court case, and if right away it's adjourned, and so that the tenant can talk to their free lawyer. So we get to court, the second court case, finally. And at the second court case, where we actually get to talk it all out, when she's already had a conversation with her free lawyer, the free lawyer tells my lawyer, well, I have a check right here on my desk. You should take it. But she wouldn't tell us the amount for some reason. Supposedly it was on her desk. And so my lawyer said, hey, you should just take this check. And I thought, well, so she wouldn't move for cash for keys. Why don't I take that money, which is probably, what, $10,000? And I'll make up for the months that she didn't pay rent, because now we're talking September when we bought the house in May. I'll take that cash for keys money. I'll offer more money to move so that we can get in here and renovate this house, because we are in the business of renovating houses and selling them to investors. And I can't sell a house to an investor with a tenant like this. So the attorney wouldn't communicate with my attorney. So my attorney said, okay, deal's off the table. So we have yet another court case. He said, Monique, you're going to have to be there for that court case. So the third court case I go to, and I say, no, I want her out. And they say, well, then you're going to have to start all over again because you accepted her when you said you would take the CERA money. I said, but I never got the CERA money. But you said you'd keep her because of the CERA money that I never got. So the way that they worked it out, I still had to give her the cash for keys. $1,000 I had to give her, even though she stayed in my house month after month after month. So today's the day. We handed her the cash. She handed us the keys, and she left us this property. Oh, so lovely. But I already have a buyer, so we're going to sell this house after we get this all cleaned up and looking spiffy, and I'm going to re-rent it to somebody who actually pays rent and will pay market rent. And you might ask, whatever happened to that CERA money, that potential $10,000? Where did it go? Well, that is the mystery. Her free attorney either never actually had it and didn't know what she was talking about, or she already mailed the check to the last property manager from before we took possession of the house, which that should not have happened, but it very well could have. We just never saw the money. We never got it. And then we ended up with somebody for months on end that we had to pay her to get out. Not saying you shouldn't buy houses in Detroit. I'm just saying don't buy them with the deadbeat tenant in them, because you could end up with all the problems. Like, there's all her garbage right out there. I'm saying buy a house that's completely renovated with a brand new vetted tenant paying market rent, and buy it from us.